We're Team Witch Doctor, and we're here at BattleBots Pro League. We're going to take you behind the scenes so you can see what it takes to run a robot in the most destructive tournament in the world.
Showing up with not having 2 robots completely done was a really bad feeling.
I wouldn't say I lost sleep over it because I was so tired it wasn't a problem falling asleep.
You know, we have been having delays back home. Those delays have carried into here. We're rushing to get this robot finished and through our safety inspections. With our new drive system, we really need to test in the battle box tonight because they're going to paint it overnight and then we won't be able to use it anymore.
We have a builders meeting in 10 minutes.
Great, that means everyone else will leave and we can do our test.
I'm Gary, I'm front of house. I'm in charge of all things audience and everything that happens on that side of the curtain. And so a reminder that yes, we're a robot competition, and hopefully we are a kick-ass robot competition, but we're also a Las Vegas show. The fans love you guys. Literally seeing people come into the lobby and, you know, turn into an excited 8-year-old boy. People cry. We had a 92-year-old woman come in for her birthday party. And so for the people on the other side of that curtain, it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
All of the trials and tribulations we had leading up to Pro League, was enough to kill a person. I feel like you know, we had so many moments where just of heartbreak, it's not going to make it.
We've had issues with sponsors through no fault of anybody, companies getting acquired, sponsors being too busy, so we've lost 3 big sponsors.
It's a lot of parts. It's like 236 parts or something like that we needed made for this Pro League in a very short amount of time.
We have an amazing new sponsor, Oshcut, that came in really late to the game. They really saved us on a lot of these parts.
They do primarily laser cut materials, so all of the sheet metal parts were now laser cut.
And what was great is they had powder coating, so we got parts powder coated for the first time ever, which was pretty great.
They cut our parts so fast, they overnighted them to us. I think out of all the issues that we had this year, I didn't have to worry about the parts coming from Oshcut, which was really nice. So Oshcut was able to make all of our sheet metal parts. There were some parts we were able to manually machine ourselves at the shop, but we did have to pay for all of our CNC machine parts, which was a lot.
The parts that we paid for have by far been the slowest pieces that we've gotten.
We were already on such a tight schedule that we're trying to rush, trying to get everything ready. We're trying to do the fastest shipping we can and the fastest turn time on everything. And it was like at every turn, things would come in later.
Come March 23rd, when parts were supposed to arrive, that didn't really happen. So we thought, okay, it's going to take about a week for them to show up, and that didn't happen. So we lost that weekend. The following weekend was supposed to be our build weekend, but no parts meant we got to slide that back a weekend.
We fly the team in from across the country to do this. So luckily everybody seems to be able to change their schedule, cancel their flights, and come a week later. That's a huge strain on everybody who has their own lives. But we don't have parts. We don't have anything for the team to do.
My daughter did turn 2 during the build weekend. We did have her birthday party on a different weekend, which was fine, because she's 2 and she won't remember it. So I'm just going to tell her that's her birthday now. We built over Easter weekend. We had a bunch of people coming over, so we couldn't cancel that. But we drove over Saturday. We did the 3.5-hour drive, and we built all day, and then we drove home 3.5 hours, and then I cleaned my house and cooked Easter lunch the next day.
Oh, you love BattleBots.
Yeah, I love it. I honestly do.
There was a little bit of unease going into that weekend, but what really helped was the effort that Mike, Andrea, Kat, Steve, and Rudy did, doing all the prep work that they could with every other part.
Because not all the parts were there were definitely times that we had to maybe do things that weren't really the most efficient. Like we would want to do this other thing first, but because we didn't have the part, we went ahead and moved forward. Even though it wasn't the most efficient, we wanted to get as much done as we could so that when everything did come in, everything kind of came together a little faster.
It's been amazing the team can accommodate changes like that, but it's incredibly stressful. We still don't know if parts are going to show up. We have everybody coming into town either way, and the backup plan is if parts don't show up, we're going to scavenge and build what we had for BattleBots face-offs. That's not what we want to do. None of us are excited about bringing that robot back. We're going to ship something in those crates. Hopefully it's the new version. At this point it's out of our hands, so we'll build whatever we can.
And now we're sitting waiting for parts. April 5th, Sunday, no parts. April 6th, no parts. April 7th, no parts. But then on April 8th, something amazing happened.
There was many times in this build season where we thought we weren't going to make it. You know, we were starting to plan for basically getting the robot we brought to face-offs, but we only had one. We didn't have really any spares, so we wouldn't have made it very far with that.
We're next in line.
Who did?
Head to your service wall mission.
Okay, pick up the controllers. I gotta stay over here.
Don't drive on one side.
No drive on one side?
Right side's down.
Oh, that's fun. You guys just want to pull it out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This girl to the Williams pit team. Look at this.
Are the radios bound?
It's got to be the encoder there.
Yeah.
You know, even though Witch Doctor always looks the same by design, it is a completely new robot. Like, every piece is different now.
Main thing, we went fully brushless this year. That's something I've been really excited to do for a while. I've been kind of incrementally doing it.
We went first with the weapon to brushless, some teething there, got it going. For fall face-offs, we did the self-rider as brushless. It didn't get a lot of showtime, but again, teething.
And now with everything that we learned, we're finally implementing brushless drive. But it's risky because if you get anything wrong on the drive, you're out, you lose. You can win without a weapon, you can win without a self-rider, but there's no room for error on the drive. We've been working on brushless drive probably since 2022, so it's probably been about 4 years. We retrofitted an old version of Witch Doctor with the motors and controllers we wanted to use. We built a 250-pound test load that we strapped to the top of Witch Doctor to make sure we could drive with another robot on top of us. It's been a long time in the works. It's still risky because it's never the same as putting it in the arena against another robot that's trying to kill you. But we're ready to take the final step, and we're at the point where everybody's been so advanced with their drive systems that it's actually riskier not to improve it and stay with the same old motors that we had than it is to jump in and get it done right.
So even though switching to brushless brings a lot of headaches, there's a lot of simplicity that comes from it. Previous years, our weapon and drive have been on different voltages, so we had to run 2 different battery systems.
Yeah, a lot of battery capacity changes. The wire routing's all completely different. That's been kind of fun to work with. So I'm nervous that it's a change. Do we get our battery capacity calculations right? And anytime we change something, especially if it's been working well, there's a little bit of an anxiety there.
You ready? Everyone ready?
We ready?
Yeah, we're good.
I feel like it doesn't steer anymore.
It does oversteer a bit more, yeah. Yeah, so do you see that puff of smoke? Is that just a tire, you think?
But you see all the tire marks on the ground? That's not normal.
I mean, no, correct. If you could touch it, it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
Witch Doctor has been very similar. Drive speed We've been using the same drive motors for many, many seasons before this. I had a pretty well dialed in kind of feeling of what the robot was going to do and how it was going to react.
You feel driving it, not just tire and grip.
It's like fast, it's punchy, it's it's very oversteery, but I don't know, we're driving it outside, so like I don't have like a basis.
You looked in control of it.
Yeah, except like if I'm like coming out of a drift and like it whips, like it's like oversteering.
But now switching to the new brushless drive, there could be a lot of things there that we'll have to learn while we, and then unfortunately really the only way to learn that is in the test box, or in the arena rather.
With the brushless drive setup, one of the big reasons to switch to that is weight savings, and that kind of motivated us to find weight savings wherever we could on the robot without losing performance, so we could put it towards armor and ground game.
And so the weapon hub configuration is different. Everything's a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact. The geometries are different. The weapon design, the disc itself, is kind of more optimized to get more energy out of it while shaving some of the weight, so that we can put that weight in elsewhere.
Towards, honestly, ground game, which is really being the difference maker in some of these fights.
We had some issues with the self-rider that we didn't account for in this build, which also kind of put us at a bit of a delay on the back foot.
You built those last week.
Yeah, no, it's not doing it at all.
We had an issue where we would build the robot, put batteries in, set it up to self-right, slam out of self-right, looks great, somersault's perfect, landing looks pretty good, everything's great. Turn it over, go to do it again, struggle. Turn the robot off, leave it alone for a while, come back, hit the flip again, gold, right off the bat again.
The self-rider is basically the core of the robot. It's like the first thing that has to go in, so we couldn't really build up the robots to a finished state without the self-riders being in there, and that was like a real fundamental issue that we had, which really halted progress on getting the robots built. So little things eat up a lot of time, so we were able to just get the robot ready. Luckily, our teammate Rick came down and he stayed that last week, which was supposed to be after we shipped the robot. So we had a few days there of just crank on everything to try to get it done.
We pushed our ship date in order to get it here, to get as much done as we could. We actually were worried our crate wasn't even going to get here on time.
I was actually the first one to arrive. My flight from Canada got here first. I got a ride over, and when I walked in, our crates were sitting in our pit. So I was the first one to sigh that sigh of relief.
We spent the whole first day here watching all three of our opponents get in the box, test the robots, while we were trying to get in there and we still weren't ready. We were hoping to get in the box the first day, we weren't able to, so all of them got some time on us.
Drive fail-safe, weapon fail-safe.
We gotta get all the stick rounds on your promotion. Oh yeah. What number do we get?
Same as the other one? Good.
Yeah, is this the same weapon size? 14?
Yeah.
Right?
Both robots are identical.
So identical, in fact. Most identical of anyone so far.
Oh. Hey, we won something!
We're not the bridesmaids anymore.
This first fight with Orbitron is the most nerve-wracking because it's the first fight of our new Witch Doctor. Mike has been driving the robot with the same motors, the same speed for 11 years, and all of a sudden we're changing everything. And he's up against a robot that's driven by AI.